Good morning. I'm Keith Glass, City of Monroe Police Department, and I got Lieutenant Tracy Hanson with me today. And what we want to do is point out a problem that's not only citywide, but it's probably a nationwide, statewide, and countywide problem, and that's just litter. And while this is not the most devastating crime that we deal with in the City of Monroe, as you can see from the video, it's a lot of trash, and we're standing right here at the East Spring Street exit coming off 78 Highway, and this litter was picked up about 10 or 12 days ago. And what I'm want to express to you is this is your community. If you see somebody littering, go ahead and call the 911, give them a tag number, and officers inside the city will respond to that. If you can't call 911 for some reason, if you can take down a tag number, Lieutenant Tracy Hanson is going to kind of be heading up something for me on this litter for a while, and I'd ask that you just email her the tag number. Her email is thanson@monroega.gov. That's thanson@monroega.gov. And again, it's your community, and as you can see, and he'll scan around and show you some more trash, but this trash was picked up with community service by community service workers about 12 days ago, and you can see how much is built up. So we really need your assistance, and we're looking at some ways also of places where we have a lot of this, maybe getting some video out there so we can catch them also on video. But we just need your help with that, and if you have any other problems with the crime or whatever in the City of Monroe that we can help you with, please contact us at the City of Monroe Police Department.
I just look forward to hearing from citizens here in the community, and we can work together and hopefully make Monroe not only a safer place, but more appealing to the eye. And just like Chief said, just email me with any problems. If you see anyone littering, or if you can get a tag number, and we can follow up with those people, just email me, thanson@monroega.gov.
And we thank you for your help.
Creative artists can transfer your 8mm, Super 8mm, and 16mm films, as well as converting your VHS, CVHS, 8mm, and mini DV to DVD. Preserve your family's video history for the generations to come. Creative Artists, 1113 West Spring Street, Monroe, 770-267-7368.
Community program. We love having you guys here for lunch and talking to you about new things that you can learn, that you can apply in your own life, and telling you about things that are going on here at the hospital as well. So we're just glad to have you here today, and we have somebody special with us today. Dr. Maynard is a general surgeon, and he's been practicing in the area for 12 years, and we're so excited. He's going to be moving his office here to Monroe, and which is always a good thing. You know, we're doing something right when we start attracting more and more physicians to our area. So we are so excited to have him here. I'm sure that some of you guys, if you're from here originally, you remember back when there was just a handful of doctors. So we're excited that we're attracting more and more specialists to the area. And Dr. Maynard and his staff are excited to join us, and they're going to be joining us here in just a few weeks, just a few short weeks. So he's going to be talking today a little bit about obesity and kind of how that affects the heart, and because February is Heart Health Month. So I'm just going to let you guys take it away.
All right.
Go for it.
All right. Hi, I'm Dr. Maynard. I'm a general and bariatric surgeon in town, and I'll be moving to your area in about another month or so. This is my office manager, Donna Edwards, and she's kind of the brains of the operation. She keeps things running smoothly. So generally, most people ask, the first question everybody asks is, what is bariatrics? Bariatrics is basically the discipline that takes care of obesity for the most part, and providing both medical and surgical treatments for obesity. As you guys know, obesity is and has been a major problem in the United States, really starting from about the middle 70s onwards. And that has gotten progressively worse as our population as a whole has increased in size. So for many of you, you've probably missed that early childhood phase and the early adulthood phase of this, and for now you're kind of on the sort of the back end of the obesity crisis, so to speak. A number of causes of this, and we're not going to go deep into this because obviously that's a whole other discussion, but some basic cause of it is really twofold. The first one is, as a society, we've gotten much more efficient. In a sense, you can look at obesity as a byproduct of a successful society. As we've gotten more and more successful, we've gotten more and more efficient at doing things, we tend not to have to work as hard for the basics. And if you look at a simple thing as turning on your television, 20 years ago when you had a black and white television, you had the rabbit ears, you not only had to go up to turn the television to change the channel, you had to go up and always play with the rabbit ears to get that done. That took a little bit of effort. Then we eventually got to the remote control where we could do just the remote and changing the channels. You still had to go up and turn the knobs and get the colors and all that stuff right. Nowadays, you sit on the couch and you got that remote and it does everything. You don't have to do anything at all to it. You got the cable coming in on the satellite dish. So the amount of work that you put in just a simple change in your channel in your television has gone down tremendously over the last 20-25 years. Well, put that throughout the entire society, and that's what you have. In your cars, you're no longer rolling the windows down, you're hitting a button and it's done. And if you split that up into the entire society, overall the amount of work that you're doing on a daily basis has gone down tremendously. On the other side of that, you have the cost of food and the convenience of food. So on one end you have your cost of food has gone down tremendously as a portion of what you make overall, and then your convenience. You could go on any street corner now and you could stand there and point to probably 4 or 5 food places, whether it's a Kentucky Fried, a Chick-fil-A, or Burger King, McDonald's, that all have food at a relatively inexpensive cost. So cost gone down, convenience gone up, it makes access to food so much easier. So when you're not doing a lot of the exercise and activity on one end, and you have the cost and the ease of food on the other, and you put those two things together, and now you can see where you're getting extra calories in, where you're not exercising and removing those calories. Well, that again is part of the success of our society. So how do we manage this going forward? You'll see you have the sort of the exercise craze where you see LA fitnesses jumping up all over the place, and people are talking about exercising more. People are talking about portion size and a few of those things. But that's the problem side of it. Now you look at how does it affect individuals, and particularly on the heart health side. As you get larger, you develop more blood vessels basically, and your heart is really a pump. That's essentially what it is. And so it moves blood from one system to the next. So it's separated into 2 separate systems. One takes care of blood to the muscles, the organs, if you will, that take care of your daily living issues. And then the other one pumps blood to the lungs that picks up the oxygen portion of it. And as you gain extra weight, as you add those extra blood vessels, you put more strain. That pump has to be stronger to pump that blood further out into the tissues, to pump that blood longer distances. We talk about the basics of, if you ever heard of an army marches on its stomach, right? So if you're fighting a war and you're 2 inches away from it to deliver that, that's one issue. But now if you're 6 inches away, that's how much further you have to pump that blood. That's how much further that blood has to come back. And that brings another couple things. It puts extra strain on the pump. So the pump has to pump harder, it has to get bigger. The second thing it does is it increases the pressure that is required to both pump forward and for things to return. So as those two things kind of combine, you get two issues going on. One, blood tends to stagnate, the blood coming back through the veins. So you end up getting more clots, more what we call DVTs. And you've probably heard of that an acronym DVTs, deep vein thrombosis. And those can bring their own set of problems to the table. And on the other side of it, you get heart failure, cardiac failure, where you're pumping against that strain. Eventually, the heart either can't get all the way there to get the amount of pump pressure that it needs. And lastly, things start backing up into the lungs, and you start getting things like congestive heart failure, where you just can't pump that blood through fast enough, so then it backs up into the system. You get the swollen legs, you start having the things like kidney failure, respiratory failure, and things like that. So as obesity impacts that, it can do that. Besides just the direct impact of obesity, it tends to affect other things as well that affect your heart. So for instance, diabetes is very prevalent in obesity, and diabetes affects the small vessels of the heart. Most of the compliant vessels, the ones that can react. So if you go from sitting and now you start walking or running, your heart has to increase its capacity to deliver blood to the muscles that's causing you to run or walk. Well, if those vessels that are supposed to expand and get more blood there are stiff and they can't expand, now all of a sudden your heart comes under even more strain. And that's where, if you have diabetes for a prolonged period of time, you can start having things like heart attacks and heart strain, etc. So that's one way that impacts it. The second one is hypertension. As you gain that extra weight, your blood pressure tends to go up as well. And high blood pressure also affects the heart, it affects the kidneys, and it affects the brain. You've heard of strokes and things like that. So those two things where obesity helps control them, they then controls a lot of stuff that's going on with the heart. And the last thing I'll mention, because they tell me to be short, is wound healing. As you have wounds to heal, and these are everything from diabetic foot ulcers to venous stasis ulcers, if you're trying to heal a wound, you need really two things most importantly. You need blood supply, and blood supply is critical because of the oxygen it brings to the wound. You can't really heal a wound if you don't have the oxygen to do it. And then blood supply also brings the products that you need. You need different cells to help break things down, different cells to help build things up, and those things are all delivered by that blood supply. So those are the issues. And when you come with wound healing, there's three big things that affects it. Number one, blood supply. Number two, obesity. Number three, diabetes. And number four, if you have the bad habit of smoking, that can also significantly impact wound healing as well. So when you look at that, obesity affects the heart directly through its increase in the amount of work the heart has to do, increase in the amount of blood that the heart has to move around. So both on the front end of it with the pressure issues and on the back end of it with the flow of your venous, you can have issues. Then obesity affects several other disease processes that will also affect the heart, like hypertension and diabetes. And so those things affect a number of things. Wound healing is one, the kidneys are one, the heart itself is one, strokes are another. So I'm gonna slow down right here and let you guys ask some questions, and then I'll do my best to answer those. Questions? Yes.
I'm lacking about that much, being 5 feet tall.
Mm-hmm.
And my weight has crept up to like 147.
Yes, ma'am.
And I know I'm carrying around too much weight. I don't need a professor to tell me that.
Mm-hmm.
What exactly constitutes obesity?
Right. It's a great question. The way we rank obesity, we do it through something called a BMI, body mass index, as a way of taking obesity that is an individual thing in its effect and trying to make it so we can measure it across all different types of peoples, different types of systems. And the thing we use is called a body mass index. We take your weight in meters squared and we divide it by your height. Sorry, your height in meters squared and your weight in kilograms. And so we're able to come up with a number, a ratio that we can say if one person here had that particular ratio, we can match it to somebody who is in California and Miami, and we'd both be talking about the same things. How that breaks down is in women, roughly, you'd be about 80 pounds overweight, and in men, roughly about 100 pounds overweight to be classified as obese. Okay. The way it breaks down is if your BMI or body mass index is between 19 and about 25.9, you're considered normal. If your body mass index is between 25 and 30, you're overweight. If you're between 30 and 35, you are obese. And if you're above 35, you're considered morbidly obese, which means the obesity by itself is causing profound impact on your health and also on your longevity and things like that. So that's sort of how it breaks down. And as you go up, once you're above 50, you become super morbidly obese, etc. So there's a breakdown of categories. Why are those categories important? Those categories are important because it tells us a little bit about risk. So risk of you having any types of surgeries, risk of you having clots in the legs, DVTs, risk of you having heart failure. And so each of those categories sort of carries a distinct risk. So the people who are in that normal category, they have the normal risk of the average population. If you get to be overweight, your risk goes up a little bit, probably about 30 or so %. Once you become obese, the risk get up in the 40 to 50% range. Once you become morbidly obese, now you're talking about tripling your risk. So for just about every other impact you can have, surgery particularly, your risk of triple. If you get to be super morbidly obese, your risk of 5 to 10 times more for different things happening. So it's a way of stratifying risk. We also use that BMI for. Long answer, but that way it covers a couple of things. Yes, ma'am.
I was diagnosed 3 years ago with congestive heart failure.
Yes, ma'am.
My left ventricle was only beating at 20%. I had a pacemaker defibrillator put in.
Mm-hmm.
And I was tired before the surgery and just super tired after the surgery.
Mm-hmm.
So in the last 6 months, I've lost about 30 pounds, and I got this sudden burst of energy. I'm ready to go and do all kinds of stuff. My question is that once you get diagnosed as congestive heart failure, will it always be that way? Or can it, I don't want to use the word reverse itself, but can it get better?
Yes, and it can get substantially better. I wouldn't say that the damage that's done is reverse or reversible, but the issue is, do you continue to have more damage? 30-pound weight loss is about really all you need. We say 10% of your body weight. So if you weigh 250 pounds, 25 pounds, once you lose 10% of your body weight, your body overall, the physiology changes. Your heart has to work a whole lot less to get that blood way out in the periphery. Your kidneys have to work a little less to filter the blood that you need. So all of those things combined is what makes you feel healthier, what makes you feel better, what helps with your energy level. Because your heart is not so much under strain just to keep up anymore. It can actually pump a little extra, if you will, to do those other things. So yeah, a little bit of weight loss, about 10%, is where we say you start really seeing a big difference in your lifestyle overall. And losing that weight is a good thing. It really comes more with your lifestyle change, if you can maintain that lifestyle change. So now that you have that extra energy, what are you doing with that? Are you now going and increasing the activity that you're doing? Are you paying attention to the things that you're eating so you can keep your calories at a minimum? And if you can do that over a long period of time, what then happens is your body tends to remodel. So it kind of reconstructs, if you will, but it takes a long time to do that. And as it reconstructs, it helps those things that are fixable, it helps them get a little bit better. Those things that are not fixable, it prevents damage going forward. So that's fantastic that you were able to do that. All right. Question?
Mine was similar to hers, but I was weighing 230 pounds, well, I said March of last year. And now I'm down to 165 and I cannot gain a pound. And I don't feel comfortable losing that weight that fast.
That's
I know
about
what
a
you're
year.
saying is good for you, but I have so many health issues. Now, how about the other things that's wrong with me too, which I didn't mention? I'm surviving cancer, diabetes, congestive heart failure.
Well, the issue of weight loss, it's always considered to be good to lose some weight, but everything has to be done in context. You know, if you are 80 pounds and you lose 8 pounds, that's a real big problem. If you're 300 and you lose 30, not so much. And so everything has to be taken in context. We try not to get you to lose a lot of weight rapidly. Well, that's generally what we try from the medical side of it. We don't want you to lose weight rapidly. It's why most of us don't recommend crash diets where you go out and you do something for 3 months and you lose, 100 pounds. Because when you do that, it's a shock to the system. So that's a different category of what we're looking at. No, when it's unexpected, like it is in your case, where it wasn't planned, you weren't doing the crash diets and whatnot, then generally what we want to do is we want to find out why is really the issue. Is it one of those things where you've changed something drastically in your life? Let's say you went from being a regular food eater, now you change out to be a vegetarian, for instance. And if that's part of the issue, we go through and we work through why it is that you're having that issue. And that's what I would, advise the physicians to do, is to go through and figure out why it is. And once they've gone through it and and there's no real reason for it, let's say at the end of it, we find out this is just something that occurred, your weight is stable, your health issues are resolved, then wouldn't worry about it so much. If they find a particular cause for it, then we go ahead and address whatever that cause is. Okay? Good. Other questions? Yes, ma'am.
Does your weight have anything to do with the bone density?
Yes and no. As you gain weight, your bones are constantly remodeling. We sometimes think our skeletal structure, our bones are permanent, and they really are not. As you gain weight and you carry more extra weight, your bones remodel to become stronger to carry the extra weight. So that's one thing that the weight does directly to that. On the other side of it though, depending on what your diet is, you can sometimes take calcium and basically steal calcium from your bones. In women particularly, as you age, initially when you're younger, as you have a menstrual cycle, you lose a lot of calcium with that. So you have to eat and bring in calcium into the system to sort of maintain an equilibrium. As you age, you have higher turnover of those bones. And if you're not bringing enough calcium in the diet, then the body will take calcium from the bones to maintain the right level in the bloodstream. You use calcium to signal between cells, so that's how cells talk to each other, tell them what to do and how to go about their function. So the level in the blood is kind of critical to maintain good health. So what the body will do is if you're not taking enough in your diet, it will take it from the bones to keep that level right. So generally what we find, osteoporosis tends to be a problem in our older, particularly our females. And one of the reasons is, well, there's two reasons, but one particular I just mentioned is that you don't have a high level coming through because of your menstrual cycle and it stays at a lower level. The second thing is hormonal. Guys have testosterone, they carry more weight and more mass normally, so their bones are bigger and thicker starting out. So they have more that they can lose before they run into a problem, so to speak. And so with women, we generally check you for bone density. We check to see what you're taking in your diet, and if the assessment is that you're not getting enough in, then we try to have you supplement that. It is enough of a problem where I would say most of your primary care physicians will say, go ahead and take a supplement at a low level once you hit about 55, 60. So that way you slow down whatever loss that you're having, and you can keep your bones in good shape going forward. Yes, ma'am.
Are those some of the reasons why, as you age, you seem to lose height?
Oh, actually, that doesn't have as much to do with the bones as it has to do with cartilage. This is the price you pay for standing upright. For you to stand upright, as your spine comes up, you have bones that are here, and in between the spaces you have cartilage. Over time, that cartilage gets compressed. That's why you hear people complain as the age of sciatica, where that compresses enough that it squeezes the nerves in the back. And you notice most of the problems in the lower back and not so much the upper back, because it's a weight-related issue. And so you grow shorter, not because your bones necessarily get shorter, but because the cartilage in between gets shorter. Now you can get shortening of the bones, you can get collapse of those if you really get into osteoporosis, where you lose so much of that bone mineral that can collapse. And that's a different type of problem. But the general diminution in height happens mostly because of your cartilage. Yes.
2 questions. Statin drugs. Is there any relation there to weight gain?
That's a very interesting question. That's actually new, I wouldn't say new, but the relatively new areas of research right now. What we're finding is, for lack of a better term, we are in symbiosis with bacteria. Okay, they've been around a lot longer than us, but we are in some sort of balance with them. And we think that some of the bacteria gives us some things that allows us to maintain our normal health. And if you remove them completely, then you start to see some of those effects. One of those things that we think is happening is there's a certain hormones that allows you to regulate when you feel full. A human being as a structure doesn't have an off switch. You know, you can eat and continue eating if it wasn't for the fact that your stomach got swollen and go, okay, I'm full. Well, part of that signaling, it seems to be coming from that the bacteria that's there helps you get into that full feeling. Once we take the statin drugs, and part of what they do is change the acid in the stomach enough that some of the normal bacteria are not there anymore, particularly the one that we think was the bad one that caused ulcers. Once that kind of goes away, the next thing we find is we're not having that a strong signal of saying we're full, so we tend to eat more, and eventually after that you end up with obesity. So that's one of the things that we think is the overall causes for overall obesity in society. Not by itself, but one of the contributing things. What was your second question?
Is a fat belly any worse than a fat fanny or a fat back? Some people have a fat belly.
Right. The belly and back, the belly and back, not so much. That's not where they look at the risk. It's the chest and back, the chest and butt. So we call it the apple shape versus the pear shape. So the apple shape, where there's a big chest, a heavy chest, and very little butt, or you have a big thigh, big butt, but normal chest, that's where the risk is. So what we find is the folks that have more of an apple shape tend to have higher risk for the cardiac events, the congestive heart failures and whatnot, whereas those with a pear shape, even though they are the same weight, tend to be lower risk. Okay?
Told you.
Did you tell me?
You just helped him out.
Oh, you just want to bet? Are you gonna share? Other questions, guys?
This is Dr. Noel sitting right here.
I'd like to know where your office is gonna be.
My office is hopefully, we haven't finalized everything yet, but hopefully my office will be in the new building. The new professional building that's here. Other questions? I have a card, but since we don't have a new address, I didn't want to give that out. Basically, what's holding us up right now is getting a contract signed for this. Once that happens, we'll probably have cards within a week or so. It's kind of, everything is sort of waiting on that. Yes, ma'am?
I was just thinking about the phone number that I do.
Oh yeah, we can give you that. My phone number at the office, if anybody wants to take it down, it's 678. No.
It is not. It's
This is why I brought her in.
It is about to give you his cell phone number. Y'all go ahead and call him tonight. 770-602-1292. Yeah, and we are presently in Conyers.
Right. So we just moving 15 miles up the road. Yes.
I'm sorry, how do you evaluate a person for bariatric surgery?
Great question. What we use is that same BMI system that we talked about. And so you qualify for surgery, and surgery for bariatrics is categorized as elective surgery. So it's not like if you have a broken arm, we have to fix it. So it's categorized in a different way, and it's regulated a different way. So this is done through the NIH, National Institutes of Health. Your insurance companies will have some regulations along with it. Generally, everybody mostly uses these basic criteria. If your BMI, your body mass index, is higher than 40, which is with that cutoff I told you about, 80 pounds for a woman, 100 pounds for a man, if your body mass index is higher than that, you have morbid obesity, where the obesity by itself is causing you health issues, and you would qualify for surgery. If your BMI is between 35 and 40, and you have health issues, diabetes, hypertension, congestive heart failure, and some things that you wouldn't expect, urinary incontinence for instance, you would be able to qualify for surgery based on that lower BMI. So that's how it breaks down. As far as that goes, when you present with those issues, some insurance companies will cover obesity surgery, some of them will not. And it's almost the way they do vision. You know, some companies have vision in their plans and some companies don't. So it's one of those things where you'd have to check with your individual companies to see if they pay for this or if they qualify to pay for this or not.
Well, since we're all so young in here, does the Medicare cover it?
It covers some of it. Some of the surgeries they do not cover, some of the surgeries they do. When they do cover the surgeries, they'll cover them at certain centers, so you would only be able to have your surgery at one center versus another.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some restrictions there that you'd be able to work through.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Other questions?
Can you tell me again how to do that? Body mass?
Body mass index?
Yeah,
It's your... Huh?
Send it to our site.
Say again?
Send it to...
Oh, yeah. Well, we don't have it, so... you can look on our website and that's there, but it's weight divided by height in meters squared, divided by weight in kilograms.
Wait a minute, say it again, because you said it backwards.
Okay.
I wrote the first thing and then you changed it. Okay, say it again.
Height in meters squared.
In what?
Meters squared.
Oh, meters, okay.
So you square the amount of meters and you divide it by the weight in kilograms. And that should give you your BMI, body mass index. Or if you just write BMI and you Google it, they'll pull up a nice thing for you to do.
Google is my friend. I know that. I just don't know how to do it.
You know, it's kind of interesting. When I went to school, you know, we used to get credit for picking up the encyclopedia and coming with 3 or 4 books where you found the information. Nowadays, you know, my kids go, I'm Googling it. You know, it's right at your fingertips.
And it's on your cell phone.
Yeah. So it's really made things easier. Other questions?
Very good.
Good. So, like I said, I do general surgery, all of general surgery, breast surgery, gallbladders, hernias, etc. I also do weight loss surgery. So we do lap bands, we do duodenal switches. You'll hear a lot about duodenal switches over the next coming months, okay? I don't do gastric bypasses, but the evaluation we do in the office, if you go to a surgeon that does that, our evaluation will qualify. We're probably one of the most rigid and vigorous evaluators out there. So I haven't had a surgeon turn down an evaluation from our office yet. Okay. Insurance companies are varied. Some of them want you to be in for 3 months, some want you to be in for 6 months, depending on what their criteria are. And we take all insurances, and of course we have to abide by whatever restrictions they have. Like I said, we're down in Conyers. We've been there for about 12 years, and we'll be moving to Monroe. In about a month, you'll be seeing a lot of me walking through the halls. All right. Yes, ma'am.
Are you confined to one hospital or can you do surgery?
Right now, I operate out of 3 hospitals. Rockdale, Newton Hospital, which is close by, and we do our weight loss surgeries currently down at Atlanta Medical Center. And I'm on courtesy staff at DeKalb, so we don't do much there. Ultimately, what we would like to do is be able to do everything here at this hospital, which will, for us, consolidate things and make it easier to provide those services.
Hi, I'm Rick Baker with the Partnership for Families, Children, and Youth. I'm sitting in today for Dana Huff, who is away on business. And I have with me today Miss Darlene Alley and Corky Reeves with Athens Tech. We're going to be talking about the GED program and something called Advanced Opportunity. So, Darlene, the GED, we're talking here specifically about adult education. What does that mean exactly?
Well, adult education is a program offered through Athens Technical College that helps people prepare for a variety of situations. GED is where most of our students come in. We also help students prepare for other situations. If they're trying to get ready to take the Compass test, if they're about to enter college, if they are working on the work keys and need to polish up those math skills, haven't done fractions for a while, we can help them with that. So, although most of our students are preparing GED, it is a variety of programs we offer.
When you're talking about those math skills, maybe I need to come see you. So where do you offer the classes?
Our main location in Walton County is in Monroe. We're at the old high school, 212 Bryant Road. Okay. But we also have 2 Loganville locations that have just opened in January of this year. We have at the library, O'Kelly Memorial Library in Loganville, Tuesdays and Thursdays from 10 to 2. And then at Hope Community Fellowship in Loganville, Monday through Thursday mornings, 8:30 to 12:30.
Okay, all right. Is there a cost associated with these classes?
They're not. The cost is free. It doesn't cost anything to enroll, to sign up, or to attend our classes. We provide all of the materials. They don't have to buy any books. We even have papers and pencils. We just need the person ready to learn and eager to come in.
Okay, great. So how does one go about enrolling in these programs?
The main thing is just to call. Get a hold of us and let us set you up. We offer orientation classes for new students so they know what's going on. They're going to come in and hear about our program, what our classes are like, what the test is going to entail when they take it. We're going to have them fill out some paperwork. In Monroe, we offer it several times a month where they can sign up for one of our classes. We offer them in the mornings and in the evenings. So the work schedule makes it where you can't come to a daytime class. We have evening ones available as well. In Loganville, it's all daytime. So if they need evening classes, they're going to need to come to Monroe. But otherwise, it's a very simple process. They just need to call or stop by.
Okay. Anything else our viewers need to know about the GED program?
It's a great opportunity. A lot of people need that second chance, or maybe it's a third or fourth chance. Life happens and people get hard on themselves and just don't get back around to finishing their education. this is a great time to come in and get things going, get their education done so they can move forward in their career, or just get that self-satisfaction that they did it for themselves.
Sure.
And they're showing their kids or grandkids that this is something that they have done and they can be proud of.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I want to introduce Mr. Corky Reeves now, who's going to talk to us about accelerating opportunity. And I've got to admit, this is a new concept for me. So exactly what is accelerating opportunity?
It is a pilot program, an experimental program. There are 8 schools in the state of Georgia that are a part of this. It allows a person to start college at Athens Tech without a high school degree or a GED. They're dual enrolled. They work on their GED while they're working on their credit classes. It has several innovative concepts to it. We use what's called a team teaching method, where when they actually start their credit classes, myself or Chris Thaxton, the other instructor, actually attends the class with them, helps the other instructor on, say, machine tool technology or the early childhood education, both of which we've just recently started at the Walton County campus. But we've had a lot of success. We give a lot of support services to the students, a lot of tutoring, a lot of counseling. We have various financial fundings. A student has an opportunity to come, get a good career, and essentially not pay a dime the whole time they're there. Books are paid for, fees are paid for, tuition's paid for. There's even some travel money, gas money coming to and from class for individuals that are eligible. And we basically just try to make sure that our students can see the end at the end of the tunnel, see the light, that they know that they can do this. We try the accelerating part is to speed it up, help them get their GED quickly, help them get a diploma in a chosen field quickly, and help them get a good career, which is the bottom line. We have 5 pathways that we sponsor. On the Walton County campus, that's going to be the machine tool technology and early childhood education. The machine tool technology is a booming industry in this area. A lot of manufacturing, the Caterpillar and Clark and Oconee County and other places that are opening in Walton. The early childhood education, there's always going to be jobs for that. We have an agreement with Piedmont College where someone can get an associate degree in early childhood at Athens Tech, go on to Piedmont College with all classes transferring, and then in 2 more years have a bachelor's degree in education. But our pathways were chosen and we were helped choose them by the Department of Labor. There had to be a lot of jobs in the areas, and also there had to be what they call a sustainable wage. So these aren't entry-level positions. These are actually more of a management or an extended training positions.
So how does one go about entering into the Advanced Opportunities Program?
Well, currently the best thing to do is to call our office. It's 706-583-2528. That's on the Athens campus. We soon will have a special number also on the Walton County campus, but also you can contact Ms. Darlene Alley, or you can contact Lindsay Reed, who is the head of the Walton County campus. And in any of those 2 people, or you call our office and we'll be glad to set you up for an orientation, more information.
Sounds like a great opportunity for people.
It has been. We've currently got 43 people in various stages of training. It's an experimental program. Most of it has worked real well. We've smoothed out a lot of the rough spots, and now after a year's time, it's running very well. And we've been able to help some people. We're real proud of that, because that's what it's all about, trying to help people go to work and get a good job at a good wage.
Okay. Darlene, could you give us the contact information for Athens Tech if people are interested in these programs?
Absolutely. Please call the Monroe campus at 770-207-4091. My name is Darlene Alley. You can email me at dalley@athenstech.edu.
Okay, thank you. And thank you for watching, and I hope that some of you will take advantage of these great opportunities to advance your education, which will in turn hopefully improve your life in general. Hope you have a great day.
We're at Walton County, the Felka Park, and it's a fabulous place over here. You can see right here they've got the gym upstairs here. Downstairs they're having a senior fitness group going on. It's very exciting. I mean, you can hear in the background the music going on, and we're going to show you some of the people that are over here exercising right now and having a great time. And I just wanted you to see where we're at today, and then we will I want to tell you more about Walton, Georgia. Welcome. I'm Molly Kinlow with the Walton County Cooperative Extension here in Walton County, and I am the Walton, Georgia County Administrator among all my other jobs that I do with Extension. Walton, Georgia has made a huge change since last year. Last year it was just the old program, and it was interesting and we loved it, but it was needed to be updated. So with the grant from the Coca-Cola Foundation, the University of Georgia and Coca-Cola Foundation have gone in together and revamped the whole Walton, Georgia program. It is absolutely fabulous. Tammy, isn't it wonderful? The new website and everything.
It's so much easier to use. It's streamlined. It's a big improvement.
The one thing that's going to be wonderful about it is we can do groups now. And with the groups, we can do, right now we have the county government, the County Board of Commissioners have 10 groups that they've set up, and I just checked, and they have 28 members on their teams right now. And with that, they are going to be competing against each other. Now, when we say we're competing, in the past we did miles. It's still going to calculate miles, but what it's going to do now, we're going to be doing points, and the points are figured on it's a formula, it's equivalent in oxygen, and it's supposed to be a much better formula. And so where you can do yoga and you can do running, and that's two different types of activities, and vacuuming, those are all different. So what they're doing is taking an oxygen level, and that's how they're calculating how many points you're earning. And so that's the way the county will be doing. We'll be doing points this year. We will eventually go back over to a map, and we can do miles again, but they're updating the map. That's going to come out in fall of 2015, and so that will be a new edition for in the fall. And that's fun because they travel all over Georgia. You learn some great places, and Tammy, you learned some great places when you were doing that one, didn't you?
I did, Molly. I'm originally from Pennsylvania, and it was an awesome way to get to know more about my new home state. I got to travel through different counties just by walking virtually. It was really interesting.
And you found some great vacation places, didn't you?
I did, and I also got to take advantage of the state park system. I got a family membership, and we go try different activities there, the different paths, hiking trails, all different kinds of things. It's been a great idea.
And the other thing Tammy's gotten to do is that she and her family have done some filming for Walton, Georgia too.
Yeah.
You and I have been to Athens, and then we've been to Atlanta, and we got to film up there, and your family enjoyed that, didn't they?
Yes, they did. It was an interesting day. I started in the Walk Georgia program, and no one in my family had taken part yet, and I was constantly talking about Walk Georgia, wearing my shirt, talking about Molly and the program, and this year they've all agreed to join, and my children did take part in the filming, even my adult children, so that was a lot of fun. And my husband recently joined a gym, so he's also getting fit. So it's I like to say it's like the ripple in the pond. We started with a little bit, and we're spreading out from there.
That's great. That was really good. And that's what we like to see with Walk Georgia. We love hearing the family stories and stories of how people have overcome. And one year we had someone who the doctor told them they had to exercise, and they got out and exercised so much they were really losing weight, and they became a much healthier person. And that's what Walk Georgia is all about. Another aspect of Walk Georgia with the groups children in schools. Now, if they're 13 years and younger, they cannot sign on as an individual. They can sign on as groups. So what we're asking the schools, and I'm going around and talking to some of the schools now in Walton County and in Social Circle, they're public schools, and any private schools that want to talk to me, I am glad to talk to anyone. What they will do is, I am the county administrator. Then we have with other organizations or groups, they can have an administrator to oversee them. So what we'll be doing with the schools is we'll have someone that's assigned to work and be an administrator for their school. Then they can add on classes. Now what they will be doing is saying, okay, Mrs. Jones's class has 30 students in it, and today they jump roped for 15 minutes. And they jump roped, 30 children jump roped for 15 minutes. And then if children want to come in and add more to that, the teachers can add that to it. But it's done as a group and there's no names. And that is because of the laws of the internet and children's names under the age of 13. So when you do go on to the Walk Georgia page, it will ask you if you're 13 years or older. So please check that you are. You can do this as an individual. We will again be giving prizes for different things going on with Walk Georgia. We've had the Traveling School Trophy now for about 5 years. And we started out with Walker Park, and then Sharon Elementary just grabbed that thing and went with it. And they have won it every time. But we now have Sean Callahan, who has moved to Walnut Grove High School, so we're challenging Walnut Grove High School to beat Sharon Elementary this year. And we're hoping some more schools will come on board and try for that traveling trophy. With the county, they will have a department trophy that will travel all over the county government building and the county government areas. So if there's a company that would like to do this, I challenge you to call me, and we will work with your company or whatever, and maybe we can have a trophy for y'all. But we will have winners at the end. Right now, our target date is going to end on April the 30th. That way we can say who our school winners are going to be. We will, but you don't have to stop then. That's the good thing about the new Walk Georgia. It will continue. That's been one of the gripes with a lot of the people that did Walk Georgia, was they said, I don't want to end. 12 weeks isn't long enough. I want to keep going. So Walk Georgia will be set up to where it can go on continuously, and you can keep on adding those minutes and miles to it. And so that's going to be great that you can do that. We will have prizes at the end of this one. We'll do it again in the fall. The reason we're doing a set time is the University of Georgia does have to, they have to be able to do their research. And so that's why we do have some times available. But if your company wants to set up a time, we can set it up in Walton County for whatever we want to do. We can streamline it the way we want to. We can fix it just for us, and that's what we want to do in Walton County. So if you have any ideas of what you want to do with Walk Georgia, give me a call. I would love to see some of the larger businesses. I'm fixing to talk to Clearview Hospital next week. We've set up an appointment with them to talk to them. They're going to set up teams there with their different departments and challenge each other. And that's what it's all about. That within Walton County, we want to follow the motto of Walk Georgia. We want to move more and live up to the Walton County Challenge. So come on and join the Walk Georgia Walton Challenge with Tammy and I, and we're going to challenge all of y'all to go ahead and get healthy with us, and we're going to try to be the healthiest county in Walton, in the state of Georgia and the United States, okay? So if you have any questions, give me a call, 770-267-1324 for the Walton County office, and I'll be glad to talk to you.
Hey, thanks for tuning in today. As always, we're going to show you some of the dogs and cats here at Walton County Animal Control. We're filming inside today because, man, it is cold outside. It's about 18 degrees today, wind chills. I sure hate to think if anyone's left their pet outside, we're still not out of winter time yet, so bring your pet inside. We've been really busy the last few days following up on a lot of phone calls, checking on dogs that are outside. I don't know why you'd want to keep your dog out in weather like this, but if you do, there are local ordinances that require you to provide some minimum care. Dogs need a dog house with some proper bedding or insulation, and you know, whenever there's a declared weather emergency or a weather advisory, we can issue citations. Section 1019 of the local ordinance under the Humane Treatment of Animals says it's illegal to tether or tie up a dog during any declared weather advisory, warning, or emergencies. And our officers have been out giving warnings, and in cases where people just don't want to comply, citations can be issued as well. But, you know, just do what's right. If it's too cold for you, it's too cold for your pet. Go ahead and bring it inside. And now we're going to show you some of the dogs and cats that are available for adoption here at the shelter.
This is a tiger female, about a year old, very sweet, looking for a good home. She's a little nervous out here.
Well, it looks like it's Labrador week here at Walton County Animal Control. We have 3 very beautiful labs that came in. This one is Patty. She's about a year-old female, really sweet, very submissive dog. Got that perfect Labrador personality. She's up for adoption. No owners come looking for her yet, so you want to add a great lab to your family, come on down and get Patty.
Okay, this is another black lab we have. A female, probably about 2 years old, very sweet. Looking for a good home.
And this pretty girl, this is our 3rd lab that we have in. Beautiful yellow female. She'll be real popular, so if you're interested, send your application right away. Her name is Lola. She's probably just a year or 2 old and got, again, a really sweet Labrador personality. She'll be available for adoption if no owner comes looking for her.
Okay, she's a rock mix. Miranda's her name. Very sweet. Looking for a good home. A lot of energy.
This is Champ. It's not Champ's lucky day. He just got turned in here today by somebody. They adopted him a couple months ago from someone else in another city, and just said they haven't had the time to work with him and decided to bring him into us. But he's a real cool looking guy. You can see he's got short legs. He's real friendly. He just seems to have a great all-around personality, and hopefully he'll make it out of here. So come on down and adopt Champ.
Where do you come alive? A stadium, lecture hall, a music hall, church potluck? This year, you have a new spot, walkgeorgia.org, a free website that provides you with all the resources needed to get your heart rate up and body out in your community. Sign up and receive individual or group fitness tracking, fitness demos by certified trainers, recipes, and a guide to resources in your Georgia County, all in one easy-to-use site. When you move more, you live more. walkgeorgia.org.
You've known for years that this is the #1 cause of lung cancer, smoking. That's why the Surgeon General issued this warning. But do you know the #1 cause of lung cancer for non-smokers? It's in this room. You can't see it or smell it. It's radon. Radon is an invisible radioactive gas that seeps inside your home from underground. It can build up to dangerous levels without notice. Now the Surgeon General has issued another lung cancer warning. And whether you smoke or not, breathing radon can cause lung cancer. That's why you need to have your home tested. Protect your family. Call 1-800-SOS-RADON. Heed the warning. Have your home tested, because radon problems can be fixed.
Do you have a collection of films and videotape sitting in your attic, basement, hall closet, or a box somewhere that are being lost to time? Creative artists can transfer your 8mm, Super 8mm, and 16mm films, as well as converting your VHS, CVHS, 8mm, and mini DV to DVD. Preserve your family's video history for the generations to come. Creative Artists, 1113 West Spring Street, Monroe, 770-267-7368.